Hello friends and welcome back to the channel where today I'm going to walk you through how I did each of the 4 objectives for this week's Summer of Suffering fight against this very annoying Toad boss here. So first off, let's cover the nodes. The most important node that is going to probably trip you up in this fight is the one where he alternates between rooting you and reversing your controls for special attacks. And as long as you pay attention to the icon up on your side of the screen, you will have an idea of what you need to do. But the problem in this fight is that Toad doesn't really like to throw specials, and there were many comments about this, on Twitter and on the official Discord and even in the CCP. It's not an AI issue, it's not a node issue, it's actually a spacing issue. So if you notice Toad's medium attack, he kind of stops short and does that like bicycle kick thing. If you are not in range or within a certain range of him, when he finishes that attack, he will not throw that special. So champions with shorter dashbacks like Vox are going to have a much easier time getting him to throw specials than somebody like Guillotine, who we'll show off later. XL champs have wonky hitboxes, and all of the XL champs will have trouble in this fight. Really disappointing that they kind of put out an XL objective for this fight, but it is what it is. A couple other things you want to pay attention to in this fight. You do have a way of invalidating Toad's prowess with an intercept. You can intercept once every, I think it's 3 seconds or so, to remove his prowess. Remember, if he gets up to 10 prowess, if you're poison immune, he's going to trigger that passive stun on you, and you're going to have a really bad time. And then he's shock immune, and if you remove or prevent his regen in any way, like with ability accuracy reduction, you're probably going to take some burst damage and die. And you also, against Toad, you really want to keep him out of the corner, otherwise he has an increased chance to gain regen and prowess. So you really want to keep the fight in the middle or towards your end of the screen. Now with Vox here, Vox is poison immune, so you're not going to be taking a bunch of poison damage, but again, you really have to keep a bigger eye on his prowess, making sure that you're intercepting as much as possible. So with Vox, what I'm doing here is really just trying to fire off my special one when I'm close to 2 bars of power. If I miss that, that's fine. You can build up all of your buffs and use the special 3 as well. But remember that Toad cannot regen damage over time, so the degens put in a ton of work here. As you can see, we're, like 2 minutes into this fight, and he's already halfway down. And this is only a rank 2 Vox, by the way. And again, as I said earlier, I think Vox probably the second easiest champ that I did this fight with in terms of baiting specials from Toad. You can see I'm not having to spend too much time baiting, and you'll definitely notice a difference when you see me do this fight with Juggernaut and with Guillotine later. So again, building up to 1.9 bars of power, firing off that special one to apply the degens. And then from here, we're trying to get back up to a bar of power and consume those degens into intensify buffs before they expire. If they do expire, not a huge deal. It lengthens the fight a bit, but it's fine overall. So one really annoying part about using Vox for this fight is that you'll notice as I'm baiting out specials from Toad that Vox is gaining corrupted precision effects, and this is problematic because when you crit Toad, you give him extra prowess. So the more time it takes Vox to bait out specials, the more precisions you're gaining, and then your crit chance is much higher. You can see we're critting on nearly every basic attack, and that's problematic because you just have to play the fight a little bit more conservatively in order to remove those prowess, or you're going to get stunned like I just did there. So there is a much higher risk in this fight of getting that passive stun on you with Vox than with other champs, just because they're going to be critting just so much more than a normal champ here. I think that's the only time, though, that I do get stunned in this fight. And again, if you just kind of slow the fight down and just play more intentionally, going for more intercepts, you can probably mitigate the prowess, or at least do a little bit better job of it than I did. But after tanking that one stun, I was pretty comfortable that I could take like another one if I needed to. So that was kind of my strategy going forward in this fight. I don't think there was anything else specifically that I wanted to call out for this fight with Vox. Again, rely heavily on the degen because Toad can't regen that damage over time. And by the end of the fight, if you've properly managed your power, you can see here we've got nearly 60 degens, and when they start ticking, they tick for quite a bit of damage, and I actually don't even think we get a chance to consume them again before they end up killing Toad. So this try with Vox, this took me about 5 or 6 tries to get this solo. Alright, next up let's talk about the objective that was definitely the most annoying one for me, and that was the XL one, which I ended up using Juggernaut for. Tried Maestro, tried Overseer, neither of those champs really felt too good for me, and I knew that there were some things in Juggernaut's kit that would help make this fight a little bit easier. So again, as I mentioned earlier, XL champs naturally have like weird hitboxes, so they're going to have a more difficult time in most fights baiting out specials, and when you add that to Toad's like wonky medium attack, just XL champs, very, very irritating for this fight. Now getting back to the things in Juggernaut's kit that help make him a little bit easier for this fight, the first thing is that you can get easy intercepts by utilizing the Unstoppable. So just take a medium on your block and then immediately counter, and that will remove his prowess. The second thing is that you'll notice that Juggernaut is immune to reverse controls. So in every other special, when I have the reverse controls ready, I'm trying to push him to his special 2 because the special 2 distance is much more lenient than the special 1 because Toad knows that he can hit you from a much further distance with that special 2, and thus he is much more likely to use that special 2 right away. So when I have the root icon here, I am baiting out the special 1. When I have the reverse control icon, I'm using the special 2 and just outdistancing it. Again, trying to get the big Fury from the 10 Unstoppables whenever I can. This one took me a few tries to get right. It was tricky for me to get the special 1 baited, so I ended up taking like a bunch of direct hits from the special 1, but thankfully with the Unstoppable I'm able to like recover and dex the rest of it. So like I'll usually take like the first hit if I mistime the initial bait, and then I can kind of clear it up and punish as accordingly. But yeah, in this fight with Juggernaut, you're again just kind of looking for raw damage. It's not going to be a clean fight. You can't tap his block to help, bait a special that way because you're unblockable with 10 Unstoppables. So that part is a little bit annoying. I want to say this fight took me probably a dozen or more tries just to get like one decently clean run going. So. And again, just get that big Fury up, try to use the special 2 when you have the 10 Unstoppables for all that red damage. The Energize buff off your special 1 can be useful, like if you need to dump power, again, in order to push him to that special 2 during the reverse controls phase. So yeah, just kind of, you don't have to always just try and nail a big special 2. Just kind of let the fight play out the way that it is and just adapt to whatever Toad is doing. You'll also see me frequently in this and other fights just back off when I have Toad close to the corner. And like I mentioned at the start of the video, you really want to keep Toad in the middle of the arena or towards your half of the arena. You really don't want him cornered because that's going to trigger more regens and additional prowess if you're hitting him in the corner too. And that's just going to make your life much more difficult. So right here we have a rooted special 1 trying to get it out of him. There we go. Finally do. And I know that one more big special 2 is probably going to seal the deal here. So I'm waiting out. I have the reverse control special up here. I think I'm going for one more intercept to push him to that special 2. Baiting out that special 2. And then we're going to intercept, do a full combo to get 10 Unstoppables. And the special 2 finishes the deal. So yeah, very sloppy fight, but that's Juggernaut for you. Alright, let's move on to Deathless Vision, who is the special objective for this week. And not gonna lie, I actually got the solo on my very first attempt with Deathless Vision. The tempo of the fight just really worked for me. Didn't have too much trouble baiting out specials with him. So yeah, just I just had an easy time, I guess, with this one. So with Vision, what you want to be doing is use your special attacks when Toad is just over a threshold of power, be it 1 bar or 2 bars. That's going to drain him of a bit of power, apply that lengthy passive heal block, which is really nice for stopping the regen, of course. That's also going to give you a phase charge, and then when you let him hit into your phase, that's what generates the Furies for yourself. And you can see they're kind of stacking underneath the Fury from the Vision Relic. That's a bug. That's going to be fixed, I think, next month or the month after. But that's what enables him to kind of amp up his damage, and then you can keep the Furies paused by repeatedly using that phase to your advantage. So I talked a bit at the start of the video about how if it seems like Toad is passive in this fight with his specials, it really comes down to the spacing on his medium attack, which has that like weird bicycle kick effect and kind of stops him short. And I recall in this particular fight, I didn't have the same troubles baiting specials with vision that I did with other champions that I tried. So maybe his dash back is just not as lengthy as other champions, leaves him in that like sweet spot range where Toad is more likely to use his special attack. A couple of other things I wanted to mention about Vision in this fight. His kit kind of necessitates a more aggressive playstyle. You want to be spamming those specials, keep power draining the opponent, building up your Furies, building up the Fury pauses, getting access to those phase charges, and that ends up being very beneficial to you in this fight because the longer you can keep up that passive heal block on him, the safer it is to continuously hit Toad in the corner, which you don't really want to do with any of the other objective champs here. And then because you have two different avenues in this fight of getting your intercepts off, whether it's a normal intercept or the phase intercept, it's much easier to kind of keep a lockdown on the prowess. So like you can see here in this fight with Vision, I'm not really too concerned about keeping Toad cornered. I'm not backing off like a bunch and trying to keep him in like the middle of the arena unless I see the prowess getting like too high. Like 7 or 8 is probably a point where I want to back off and try and get like an intercept off. But for the most part, I'm completely fine keeping him in the corner. Because even if he gets extra regens from triggering that paralytic secretion or whatever it's called, we've got the heal block on, and if we can safely bait out specials and punish them, continuously cycle our special ones, and keep that heal block refreshed, it's really going to keep a lockdown on that healing. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else I really wanted to say about this. The tempo of this fight with Vision I actually found pretty satisfying. I'm kind of like lukewarm on Deathless Vision in the first place. I feel like his kit doesn't really come together for me totally. I feel like he's missing something for me. But his damage is fine. His power control leaves a lot to be desired, but I think that's probably intentional because his damage is higher than other Visions. I really wish they had added like a visual effects thing on his phase, like you have with Viv Vision or Ghost or Kitty, because being able to actually see that your character is phased, in my opinion, goes a long way toward making him easier to fight. And the phase lasts for like 2 seconds or so, and being able again to visually see when it's active and when it's ending, rather than relying on just like repeated use of the character and you feeling like when the phase is ending is going to make it much easier. I don't think I'm going to say any more, so I'm actually going to skip forward to the final fight. So feel free to watch the rest of this one, or you can fast forward using the links in the description to the fourth and final fight, which is with Guillotine. Alright, the fourth and final objective for this fight, I ended up using Guillotine for. Guillotine was the first champion that I used for this fight overall, and in hindsight, Viv Vision is a much easier and faster counter for this objective. So if you have the Viv Vision and she's ranked up and you are at least somewhat proficient with her, I would really recommend that you use her over Guillotine. And if you haven't seen my my solo with Viv Vision, I'll probably link it up here on the top right corner for you, so you can check that out. But so with Guillotine, you're kind of relying on like raw damage here once you get up to those 100 hits. I think I do have the Assault function active, which gives you a power burn on your mediums when you're above 100 hits. So again, just a little bit more damage. The Spectre here is not really going to be doing anything for you. And again, with Guillotine, you really do need to stay out of the corner. Again, because you don't have a natural prowess removal and you don't really have a way of out-damaging the regen until you have your combo up to a specific point. You can see me trying a lot of blind intercepts here, and that is on purpose. Guillotine's light attack has some really, really good reach on it. So, like, if you can, like, allow yourself to walk up and just tap the light attack, there's a really good chance that you're going to end up connecting with him if he's dashing or walking forward. So I'm doing that quite a bit. The other thing that I really kind of... it took me a while to kind of get this worked out with Guillotine is how to bait specials out of Toad with her. Legacy put out a video showing how like hitting into Toad's block is going to leave you close enough to Toad where he's going to use the specials right away. I tried that a bunch. It didn't really feel good to me because you have to basically anticipate the special happening immediately after your blocked hit. And if he doesn't do that, then it kind of like throws off my rhythm. So what I preferred to do, and you'll see me do in this fight, is try to do like a shallow dex or a sidestep. If you dex a little bit too soon when you see him dashing at you, your dex is going to end, and his dash will end, and it'll leave you in that like sweet spot distance where he can then throw a special attack. So beyond that, the way I'm trying to handle his specials is just keeping, like when I'm baiting a special, I'm keeping one eye on my side of the screen. And when the reverse controls icon is there, I'm keeping an eye out for that bright red circle because that gives you like a couple frames of warning in order to dex forward, which will dash you out of the way. And then for the rooted specials, I'm keeping an eye on Guillotine's feet, watching for that giant like glowing root circle so that I know what to do. And again with Guillotine, you're really not going to see a lot of damage at the start of the fight until you get her combo ramped up, and then once you're over 100, those red numbers just really start climbing. And then kind of speaking to the combo, she has a lot of ways in her kit to manage her combo, but one thing you really want to do, especially if your Guillotine is unduped, is be on the lookout for opportunities to use your heavy attack, and whether that's going to be following a striker, or you can reparry when Toad is like below a bar power and do a heavy that way. You want to keep at least 2 of those combo shield charges on you at all times, and you get 1 per heavy attack. If you use one of her pre-fights, your cap for the combo shield charges goes down by 2, so I used 1 pre-fight. I think I have a maximum of 4 total here, but if you have 2 on you, that allows you to tank a full special 1 from Toad without losing your combo. And if you lose your combo in this fight, it's super annoying to try and build it back up again. So I'd really recommend that you try and do that. She also has access to that Digi-Cloak, of course, but that's only like a 15% chance or so of activating when you get hit. And then if your Guillotine is duped, you get access to that passive combo shield as well, and then the chance increases with SIGs. But the guaranteed way of saving your combo is by keeping those combo shield charges up with your heavy attack. And then you can see, talking again about her damage, like just in the past minute that I talked about that, his health bar went down from like, what was it, like 80% to 25%, so a significant chunk of damage in a short amount of time, and this fight is going to be over before you know it. I don't think I have anything much else to say. I think I do take 1 more special 1 to the face before this fight is over, right there. Thankfully, my 1 combo shield charge catches the first hit, and then my SIG catches the second, so I'm able to finish this fight out. one more special one from him while rooted, and there we go. And you can also save up to your special 3 if you want and just kill him below 5%. Didn't choose to do that here, but that's, you know, if that's how you would rather play it, that is perfectly legitimate here. Not really sure why I'm not just reparrying here. I'm trying to go for a blind intercept, which is really unnecessary in review here, but yeah, because I've already lost like the yellow bar solo, and I have no idea what I'm trying to accomplish here. I should have just reparried instead of trying to push him over bar power and baiting out one more special. Yeah, I've like unnecessarily extended this fight by quite a bit, and then I just go in and finish him off. So hopefully this video is helpful for you. Let me know in the comments below who you used for these objectives, and as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.